Listen to what it says here. The greatest stronghold in your life is the imagination. That's the strongest stronghold in our lives today. I am convinced the majority of Christians do not worship the God of reality, but they worship the God of the imagination. I don't mean by that we're playing Walt Disney or something. What I mean is that because we do not know the reality of God in our life, we have to make up one. And actually you can't do that, but we do with our imagination. We close our eyes, we raise our hands. We're going to worship the Lord. So I have a picture. Up there in the sky, there's somebody up there sitting on a great throne, and he's such a beautiful character, and he's dressed in white, and this is the Lord, and I worship there. Lord, I worship you. Do you realize that that's idolatry? And God said, I don't like idolatry. You see, you can have a God, but you can make an idol. But you can't make a God. You can make an idol, but you must have a God. And that God can only be revealed to you by the Spirit. Why? Because God is Spirit. Don't use your intellect. Your intellect is never going to show you God. It's never going to reveal God to you. It's impossible. Don't even try to study the Bible and think you're going to get to know God. It can't reveal God to you either. Jesus said to the woman at the well, those that worship God, those that come to know God in terms of reality, must come to him as Spirit, because God is Spirit. How could a mortal human being worship God that you can't see? Come on. If you can't see God, then you're going to make up a God, aren't you? That's what idolatry is all about. It was the fact that Israel couldn't see God. They didn't want to see God. Remember at Mount Sinai what they said? They saw the lightning up there, they saw the smoke and the fire, and they heard the thunder. They said, oh Lord, let's get out of here. Because they didn't know God. But Moses marched up there, he didn't worry. Why? He knew God. He knew God. I want to tell you, when Moses came to that burning bush, I think at first he was a bit scared. Why? Because he sees a bush and there's a fire in it. But the amazing thing is the bush was not consumed. He said, this is not ordinary fire. This is the fire of God. I don't think he was so scared then. But see, he knew fire. As a shepherd, he knew the damage fire could do. I see it in Australia. When a fire goes through where the sheep are and the grass is dry and you see the sheep lying there. Wool doesn't burn, you know. But it sure kills the sheep, the fire. But when I say it doesn't burn, you can burn it, but it's very difficult to burn. But the wax in the wool, that tends to burn anyway. So Abraham is going up to worship the Lord on the top of the mountain. Now I don't think Isaac understood everything, but he must have understood something about this offering, because you don't read about any struggle going on up there. None at all. And Abraham was not working on his imagination. When he said God will provide himself a sacrifice, he knew what he was talking about. Because Abraham saw the day of Jesus Christ. You realize that? He saw, Jesus said, Abraham saw my day. And he rejoiced in it. So he understood. He understood. So, casting down imaginations. We're building the altar. Casting down imaginations. And every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God. This is our religious training. This is our religious understanding. This is the knowledge that came to us through men. You've got to get rid of it, because it will stop you from entering into the sanctuary and worshiping the Lord. And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Oh Lord. This is the prerequisite for worship. And you see, because we've all been sort of, what shall we say, trained in the church thing, it's not easy just to push that all aside and to begin to enter into a new experience. But God will do it for you. Let me tell you, God will do it for you. I know, because I've experienced it myself. There is a place in God that's near to the heart of God. A place where sin and all the other stuff that seems to be contrary to God cannot even invade. There is that place near to the heart of God where you can come to him and find that you can see him with the eye of faith, that you can see him because he dwells in us. And like Isaiah, I have seen the Lord, he said. I've seen the Lord, high and lifted up, with his train filling the temple. That wasn't Jesus walking on the earth. That was the glorified Lord that he saw, high and lifted up. That's the one that we need to see. Had to build the altar first. Everything in here that contradicts what God has said must be taken down. It must be taken down. So, let's go back and see what he did. Abraham is on the top of the mountain. He's built the altar now, and he takes Isaac and he lays him on the altar and upon the wood that was on the altar. And Abraham took the knife and raised it above his head. And here's his son lying there. This is Christ, who dwells in you, who dwells in you. This is the Christ who dwells in you. And he's on the altar.